Elvis Presley has long had a reputation for being a bit of a playboy. Many women paid him a visit at his Graceland mansion in Memphis, and whenever he would be in Vegas, he would typically be seen with a girl or two on his arm. Eventually, he settled down and married Priscilla Presley. Even so, both before and after their divorce in 1973, there were a ton of other women the king dated and slept with. Join us as we take a look at nearly every woman Elvis dated or hooked up with. Dixie Locke Emmons. Elvis's first girlfriend was this 15-year-old fellow student. The two would go steady throughout their high school years and continued to date during Elvis's Sun Records years. Juanico. Another one of Presley's early flings was with this fan from Biloxi, Mississippi. It's said that Juanico was the only girl Elvis's mother ever approved of. The two never actually hooked up, however, as according to her memoir, Elvis in the Twilight of Memory, June was too afraid of getting pregnant. Priscilla Presley. On May 1, 1967, Elvis and Priscilla Beaulieu exchanged marriage vows. Priscilla was Elvis's one and only wife. Infamously, she was just 14 years old and still in high school when she met Elvis in Germany while he was serving in the U.S. Army. The couple dated for 8 years while abiding by a strict set of rules laid out by Priscilla's parents. Her father, Paul, was particularly concerned about Elvis's motives and wanted to ensure he was going to treat his daughter with the care and respect she deserved. Paul expected Elvis to propose, but before that, he wanted the rock star to ask for his permission to take her hand in marriage. Elvis and Priscilla had one child, a daughter they named Lisa Marie. But unfortunately, their marriage wasn't made to last. Shortly after Lisa Marie was born, Elvis's eye began to wander. Priscilla likewise eventually committed infidelity. In her memoir, Elvis and Me, she admitted to having an affair with her karate instructor, Mike Stone. Elvis and Priscilla got divorced in 1972, although Priscilla retained her ex-husband's surname. After his untimely death at 42, she took on the role of overseeing his legacy as well. Priscilla has created a name for herself in the film industry. Most notably, she played the character Jane Spencer in the Naked Gun series of films. She also played Jenna Wade on the long-running primetime soap Dallas. Ann-Margret. Elvis and Ann-Margret started dating while on the set of the King's 1964 film Viva Las Vegas. What started off as an on-screen romance didn't end when the cameras stopped rolling. When Elvis and Ann-Margret began their affair, Elvis was still with Priscilla. In the end, Elvis ultimately chose to stay with his wife. Ann-Margret and Elvis bonded over their mutual hobbies and interests. They also both deeply loved their families and had a shared strong belief in God. Their relationship ended in 1964, and Ann-Margret went on to marry Roger Smith in 1967. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like, and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already, and stick around for more of Elvis's loves. Connie Stevens. The actress best known for her role in the 1960s ABC detective series Hawaiian Eye told author Alana Nash in 2010 that she and Elvis had a beautiful relationship that was on again, off again for 2 years. She even went as far as to say he was one of the greatest loves of her life. Natalie Wood. Even though Elvis and Wood only dated briefly and might not have ever taken their fling beyond a few dinner dates, Natalie did go to meet Elvis's family at Graceland. This move, however, didn't pan out that well for Elvis, as when Wood got back from Memphis, she reportedly told her sister that while Elvis could sing, he couldn't do much else. Cybill Shepherd. This gorgeous moonlighting star began her career as Miss Teen Memphis. She ended up dating Elvis, although briefly, and later claimed in her memoir that she, quote, may or may not have taught the king a few novel sexual techniques. In 2016, she made an appearance on Sway in the Morning in which she gushed about how wonderful, sexy, and incredible of a guy Elvis was. Linda Thompson. This actress, who is arguably best known for her role in Princes of Malibu, dated Elvis from 1972 to 76. She eventually went on to marry Olympic athlete Caitlyn Jenner. A few years ago, Thompson told the press that Elvis was her first love and the one that changed her life the most. Rita Moreno. Much like her former West Side Story co-star, Natalie Wood, Rita Moreno shared a bed with Elvis at one point as well. Moreno claimed that she and Elvis hooked up mostly so she could make her main man, Marlon Brando, envious. As it turned out, Moreno's dirty plan actually worked. Brando was so livid he started throwing furniture across the room when he found out. Peggy Lipton. In 1971, Lipton and Presley dated for a brief period. Peggy discusses this chapter of her love life in some detail in her 2005 autobiography, Breathing Out. According to her book, Elvis, quote, kissed like a god, but that was about it. The Twin Peaks actress went on to say that when she was with Elvis, it didn't feel like she was with a man. Rather, he seemed to her more like a little boy who had never grown up. Anita Wood. Elvis and Anita, who also worked in the entertainment industry, started dating sometime around 1957. They remained a couple until 1962. Anita later revealed that when she started seeing Elvis, she gave up a potentially lucrative contract with Paramount after Elvis asked her to come live with him in Memphis. While she put up so much on the line for him, Elvis wasn't willing to do the same for her. When he came back home from Germany after the war, Elvis kicked Anita to the curb and chose to be with his barely teenaged future bride, Priscilla. Ginger Alden. Prior to his death, Elvis had gotten engaged to Ginger Alden. A few years ago, Alden told the entertainment news outlet Closer that Elvis was far from being a romantic candlelit dinner kind of guy. Instead, his idea of being romantic was playing the organ while wearing a jeweled robe. Elvis also liked to shower Alden with lavish gifts. He bought her 3 cars, fur coats, and all the jewelry she could ever desire. While she expected to spend the remainder of her life with Presley, Alden was at Graceland when Elvis was found unconscious on the floor of his bathroom after going into cardiac arrest. Mindi Miller. Miller was a 24-year-old model when she met Elvis at a party at his LA home at 144 Monovale Drive. On their first date in 1975, Elvis showed up to pick her up, standing up in a limo holding a giant rifle. After his vehicle parked, he lavished her with $5,000 in cash and offered to buy her a car. Mindi and Elvis continued to see each other for the better part of a year before he met his final serious girlfriend, Ginger Alden. Elvis had a preoccupation with young girls. We mentioned Priscilla was only 14 when she met Elvis. Author Reuben Fine observed that Elvis had many relationships with young women throughout his life. He further says Elvis would quickly become attached to teenage girls and loved to have them wear white panties while in bed with him. Another biography, Brent Taylor, stated that some of Elvis's closest female relationships were with girls as young as 13 or 14. Taylor says that while Elvis wouldn't have sexual relations with these girls, he would have pajama parties, throw pillow fights, and engage in girl talk with them. Alana Nash confirmed the singer had a predilection for adolescent girls. Beyond that, she believes Elvis, who was overly attached to his mother, had an inability to relate with other mature women. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Presley's relationship with 14-year-old Priscilla was inappropriate? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.